Let's keep on this story and bring in Roger Hilton. He's a defense fellow at GlobeSec, and he's joining us from Vienna. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Hannah, great to see you again.
Great to see you. What do you make of the timing of Navalny's death?
Well, I mean, I think in the immediate aftermath of it, where everybody was shaken, I was watching Munich Security Conference live, but I think what's really stood out for me that this was very much an opportunistic act by Putin that was filled with so much bravado. This week, from a Western perspective, was actually very positive. You had 18 of 31 NATO allies spending going up. You had President Zelensky, who's going to come to Munich and rally the troops for more aid. And at the same time, Ukraine has signed more arms deals, long-term deals with Germany and France. So when taken together, that's all sort of positive news, despite the tough slog right now in Ukraine. And I think Putin wanted to use this moment to come in and sort of reassert, steal the headlines, and also just re-indicate to everybody that he's still around. Everybody was up in arms about the reports about an anti-satellite weapon. So yeah, and he's no stranger to making big statements at the Munich Security Conference after his big comment in 2005 about the dissolution of the Soviet Union being the greatest geopolitical catastrophe.
I mean, you think Navalny was in a prison that was so far away from Moscow, above the Arctic Circle. Is Putin so insecure of a man who's in behind bars? And I just can't fathom it.
Hannah, despite all of the shirtless photos of him riding horses, fishing, being a man's man, I'm really of the opinion that President Putin is insanely paranoid. I think the wounds from the Prigozhin incident in the summer are still very fresh. And while he trumpets this tough man idea that he goes up against the U.S., the West, and he makes friends with China, I really am of the position that he sleeps with one eye open. And whether it's Democrats, the democratic movement in Russia, or oligarchs inside his own circle, anything, that could ferment internal dissent is very offsetting for him. And as we've seen, he's really not taking any chances with the March elections coming up.
Yeah, elections in quotes, because really, is it an election? No. But was he that, worried about what's happening in a month?
I think nobody is in doubt about how the outcome is going to go. But as you can say, it's very hard to kill an idea. While Putin has done a huge effort to sort of subdue any sort of anti-war protests, the economy is not doing well. Basic things are still missing, despite, in general, the economy holding up to Western sanctions. But yeah, I think Navalny's team, which is based out of Lithuania, and his chief of staff has come in and spoken in Slovakia at GlobeSec events. I think he is maybe not as afraid as he used to be about it, but protests are contagious. And as I said, after the Prigozhin incident, I think he's really not taking any chances. You had another very prominent Russian Democrat, Kazmura, who's been poisoned when he got back. So as I said, yeah, he's still sleeping with one eye open, even with the elections.
What type of response do you think this warrants from Western nations? Are sanctions serious enough?
I think you should think outside the box a little bit. The two things that Putin cares about the most, more than anything right now, are regime survival and winning in Ukraine. So, the first big statement, which would come in 2 weeks, is, for the U.S. Senate to pass the aid package, which is stalled at the moment. If it was up to me and I was running the National Security Council, I'd get the Treasury Department to really go in and do some punitive damages to the oligarchs. Because what you want to do there is you want to put pressure on people around him to ferment dissent, and maybe that would be an issue for him. And then again, if you look at it on the battlefield, Ukraine is about to get some F-16s, but I think sort of floating the idea that if they're still in the conflict, we'll go from F-16s to F-35s, which is something that the Russians could not deal with, or even float the idea that they'll get some sort of naval asset, like a decommissioned submarine, which is much easier said than done, given that everything in the Black Sea has to go through Turkey. But I think those are some of the things at the top. And as you said, sanctions are strictly punitive. You could P&G, persona non grata, a lot of the staff in the U.S. But I want to make it clear for the Canadian audience, you don't want to completely cut off contact with the Kremlin to avoid an escalation spiral, and always, have somebody to call in the event of a real emergency or miscalculation.
That's interesting, too. Who replaces Navalny?
I don't know if it's by committee at the moment, but I think it's still way too early to say. For all of the Canadians watching, I would really encourage you all to check out Navalny's wife's speech. Heart-tearing, with almost seeking revenge and justice for it. But, Navalny said at the end never to give up. But as I said, Putin's put a lot of the main players on their backs right now in Russia, literally speaking. And it's obviously not easy being a Russian Democrat abroad either, given a lot of given the track record of Russia poisoning, people like in Salisbury, sort of former KGB agents. So, as I said, I think they need to recompose themselves at the moment and go from there.
Roger Hilton, it was a pleasure chatting with you today.
Auf Wiedersehen. Have a great time, guys.